And welcome everybody to the Scenic City Sports Podcast on this August the 10th, 2025. Rusty Scott Robb joining you from Studio X, talking to you about the current sports news and stuff going on. And today what we thought we would do for you folks is to look at where we kind of envision the best teams in Chattanooga and North Georgia are going to be. What kind of victory totals we were looking at out of some of these schools and who we think might surprise us. And I don't necessarily think that we have anybody off the top of my head, and I'll turn this to y'all, but I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that I feel like is going to have that come out of nowhere season. I think everybody that we think is going to be good is an amalgamation of what we've been watching over the last 2 or 3 years of maybe a team getting older as they've gotten through time, yeah. and I think we've got a few of those, but I don't know that we have that wild card out there.
We've got a couple of teams that are, have been building towards this season specifically.
Yeah. Our alma mater LFO is one of them. I mean, have been. Lakeview has been looking forward to this year for a couple of years because we saw flashes the last 3 years with what will be this year's senior class. We saw flashes throughout that stretch, knowing, man, when them boys get a little bit of, as I hate to say it this way, but the old-fashioned idiom of they get that man strength, and it's going to be something.
And let me say this: there's schools, whether they like it or not, fans like it or not, that there's a shorter cycle to talent back in, and there's some that are a little longer in length. Lakeview has proven over the last several years they have a little bit longer length to get back to where they want to be. This is a 19-member senior class of guys that are heavily in their skilled positions.
Oh yeah,
I've seen some of their pictures, Scott. They got some big kids up front too. This is one of those teams, for their sake, that is. May not have a lot of depth, but if you're fortunate and you don't have to have injuries and things of that nature, you can get by without depth. Okay, but if they can accomplish that, they can have a successful season.
They'll eventually get some depth, but they cannot afford any injuries, especially early on in the season, because the non-region part of the schedule is going to be pretty tough.
It is a tough
to get them ready for the region thing, but they've got plenty at the skill positions. They've added some at the skill positions, and that defense, from what I saw,
it's going to be good.
The quarter against Signal Mountain,
the defensive line especially.
The defense is just fast.
Yeah, they are.
The defense has got a lot of speed. A lot of kids that are headhunters out there too that will not be afraid to
say hello.
To say hello, yeah.
And the drive down the street to what was their biggest rivalry for most of the existence of that school, and may still is in Ringo. Ringo was in the same boat many years ago where that cycle was long for them to get back to where they felt like this was a group that we could win, and then we'd fall on a big weight. Ringo has shrunk that cycle. They don't spend as much time waiting on a good team to get back around for their sake, and that's a credit to. I'm gonna say this because I've said it before. Robert Aiken started that building of that cycle, being that tight, and it's continued. It's continued on with Austin, but saw them Friday night. Good-looking group of kids. I think they're going to win a lot of ball games. They may be in some tight ball games. I'm not sure they're a type of team that's going to go out there and beat teams by 40. They're going to be in tight ball games, and they're well coached. And let's see how they come out of those situations.
Yeah, they may not have the offensive firepower that they have in past years. That defense, and just like I said against LFO, fast. The defense is extremely fast. And while I mention it, I was at Finley last night. Heritage defense, really fast. And we know what kind of offense they've got coming back. And I'm going to go ahead and make this statement right now. We've had 3 teams playing football in Catoosa County since 2008. That was the first year when Heritage started its program.
I know where you're going.
We're 17, 18 years into it. This year, I feel very confident in saying we could have the best season for Catoosa County football, top to bottom, that we've ever had.
Yeah,
among all three schools.
I think you're accurate on
I
that.
think you're looking at all three schools coming out with winning records. And I know they all made the playoffs last year. Lakeview kind of got in there on the points, even though they were 4-7. But I think all four are going to march into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott, because there's always been, since the existence of that, there's been one team that looked good, two that didn't. There's been two that looked good, one that didn't. And again, coming into this season, and we talk about a wild card team. I don't know that they're a wild card team in Lakeview, because this is that maturity level they wanted to get
We've
to.
been watching for this.
And they're 19 plus seniors out there. I think they've got a few that have creeped into the set of cards for them. But they've got a good football team as well.
The skill positions is where they really excel. I mean, you've got a 4-year starter quarterback, or 3.5-year, might as well say, starter at quarterback. You know, you've got quite possibly the best wide receiver maybe in the Chattanooga, North Georgia area in Jared Mitchell, because that kid just looks like a football player. When you put him in pads and a uniform and he walks out there, you just look at him and go, dang, that kid looks like a player. And Jamie is great.
He's one of them.
Yeah.
There's another one down the road that probably has something to say about.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because we don't leave them out.
Well,
I'm
partial, man.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm partial.
I know you.
I've
But
taught Jared.
And Jared got a offer from Air Force.
Air Force
That's
Academy.
nice. And Scott, and you can echo this.
And they've got more than that. Not
How many skilled
yeah.
How many skilled kids do they have?
Oh, they're 4 deep,
4 or 5,
a
6
little more at wide receiver. They've got 2 or 3 good running backs.
And a quarterback that was all region.
They got a great
First
quarterback coming back. They've got, the line is seasoned.
It's a big line.
It's a big line. The offensive line is big. The defensive line is a little smaller, but they are fast.
Yeah.
And they're stout as bulls.
Well, we've seen that trend
are.
over the last several years, where if there's going to be any decline in size, it's been on the defensive front, because all the big kids have been playing offensive side. And there was a time where I would preach, and I still do, get them in shape and let them play both ways.
Yes.
We've got this mindset that we're not going to do that, and I'm not so sure that is the way to think about that totally. It's great to have that, but if you're sacrificing because of that, then it's not a good idea.
Well, if you got enough kids that can handle it, then I'm all for having this group playing defensive line, this group playing offensive line, because you can gel together as a unit here, gel together as a unit here, and you're not getting guys in there that are tired in the fourth quarter.
Well, keep in mind what I just said. If you're not sacrificing, if you're not sacrificing to do that,
I'll point one small thing out, and this is something that Stump would have loved. There are some pretty dang good wrestlers on that defensive side of the ball.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And if they can get their hands on you, you ain't going around them.
Yeah.
And you're going to be lucky if you can stop them.
They're good tacklers.
So Stump would have loved that aspect.
Let's just start with that 7AA region, because it's interesting. Rockmart is still the team to beat.
Of course.
They've got 2, I think 4-star players, 2 preseason All-State players, one on the line, one at linebacker, who's also going to be running back. They're the team to beat until somebody proves otherwise. I think they've won 51, 52 consecutive region games, 7 consecutive
Who does
region
Rockmart remind you of over the last...
Calhoun.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
how
the same.
Calhoun built their program
it's the
to
same
prominence.
mascot,
same mascot, same colors.
That's who they've reminded me of.
If their school continues to grow the way that Calhoun did, every one of us could see Rockmart bumping up to 3A and just continuing on with the dominance that they've done.
They're doing this with Cedartown in the same county, who's also really
good.
And I just wonder, Cedartown made a surprising coaching change, because that guy had taken him to the state finals and everything else, and all of a sudden Next thing you know, they're making a coaching
There might have
change.
been more behind that than we
there
know.
had to
you
have
know,
been.
I mean, typically in high school coaching,
But I just wonder if some of those kids might start migrating over to Rockmart and making that program a little bit
if they
stronger.
think that program's the one to be on, I mean, that's
Wasn't that Cedartown that came into
Heritage
Heritage
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time and steamrolled them?
I mean,
okay.
I'm hearing
they're-
that North Cobb may not be what everybody thinks that they are going, that
North
they
Cobb
traditionally be. I
Christian.
think they're down a quarterback is what I believe I
Well,
heard, or maybe it's
they are down.
they have a young quarterback.
Well, from what I've been told and from what I've read, they are down 3 big time college prospects.
That went elsewhere to
The
go.
quarterback, Teddy Gerard, apparently who's committed to Notre Dame already,
Oh my God!
transferred to North Cobb.
And I heard he was really, really good.
He was
yeah,
North Cobb
not North
Christian.
Cobb Christian, North Cobb High School.
which is the 6A program.
Yeah, 6A. Yeah.
And
Wow.
they've got 2 other big time receivers. I think one was going to be a senior or maybe a junior. One's going to be, I know one's definitely going to be a junior. My understanding is they've gone to Marietta and to Kell, I think.
Oh, Kell's a
Big schools.
big school too.
I may be
strong
off of
school.
But if those 3 kids are indeed gone, and I have no reason to believe they're not, because everything I've read said
They're going to feel
gone.
that.
Yeah, because you're taking
Yeah.
away a 2,700-yard pass, and you're taking away 1,600 yards.
Your 2 best receivers and your quarterback. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
and your top running back, I
how do
think,
you replace?
graduated.
Yeah, how do you replace that?
I don't know.
I mean, and that's not a
They graduated.
that's
a few
not
on
a
the
large
defense.
school either.
No.
I mean,
And
it's
Scott,
No,
what's
it's not.
is
They-
there?
They
they have
should
to
be
play.
down.
They play up. Yeah, I was gonna say they play up because of the multiplier. Correct.
Yeah.
And is there a circumstance that caused that down there?
To my
coaching
knowledge,
change or-
no? There wasn't a coaching change. I think they just want to. I think they just wanted to play better competition.
That's
and
one of
get
those
seen by
situations where somebody
better,
gets in that
yeah.
kid's ear and says, "Hey, man, you ought to go up there and play at the higher level. That'll just make you look that much better. You got that offer in hand from Notre Dame, but you go up there at that 6A level and you show out. There might be a whole lot more that come
Yeah.
calling in the mail."
But I mean, he's committed to Notre Dame playing 2A ball.
Right, but you know that's
Yeah, but some of those kids want to play higher competition, and 6A in Georgia, right there in Metro Atlanta, that's the cream of the crop right there.
draw
That's
a
pretty
50
strong all
draw
Friday
a
night.
50-mile radius around
So-
Atlanta and see what you get.
I think they drop off a little bit now. Who grabs that second spot now? Because North Cobb
I think it's
Christian was the
completely up
team
for
last
grabs.
year. I think Ringo's in the mix. I think Lakeview's in the mix. I saw North Murray play Friday night against Gordon Lee.
Yep.
Gordon Lee won the scrimmage. We'll talk about them in a minute because Gordon Lee's going to have a really good team. But North Murray has some athletes. And last year, they beat Ringo by a single point. I think it was a missed extra point or a blocked extra point. It was
Blocked
only
extra
different.
point, I think.
Ringo lost 3 region games last year
By 6 points.
by 6 points.
Yeah.
1 in overtime and 1 in 6 overtimes on maybe the most controversial pass interference call
I
Yeah.
could
I've
see
ever
them
seen.
being
Yeah.
in similar games, though, Scott.
Yes.
I can see them being in those type of games again.
Yeah.
And, of course, naturally, we're pulling for them to come out on the winning side of it. But I don't know that I saw that they have the ability to go out there and win by 40 with what I saw offensively.
No, they're not going to be that type of team. They're going to be winning 28-14.
13-12, those kind of games.
Yeah, they may have to grind some games out, but they've got the running game to do it. When you've got Haddon Freeze and you've got Jeremiah Frost, I mean, that's 2 of the best running backs.
And I heard this,
in
the
Georgia.
frozen
I was
backfield.
going to say Freeze and Frost. That's awesome.
Frozen
Freeze and
backfield.
Frost, yeah.
I like that.
New quarterback in Zach Grauer. Big, strong kid, good arm. He's still kind of learning the position. He was a tight end last year, but he's done a lot to do that.
They've done a lot of work with him.
Yeah,
to bring from not being playing that position whatsoever to what I saw the other night. Done a lot of work with him because he did look good.
Going to miss Keyshawn Taylor catching the ball and making those runs, but they've got some kids.
Got a few transfers.
Yeah, so that'll be good. And they brought in, I would say brought in, but there was a kicker that Sam Bishop that came in from Christian Heritage, who is starting to climb up the national and state rankings, and this kid's got a really good leg. So that's going to help them in that situation. Offensive line, they've got a really, really good offensive line. Big, strong, and not too many seniors on it. So they're going to be good for a while. Like I said, it's just kind of the offense just going to need time to, gel and figure out what they're doing. They've got Dade County this Thursday night at home.
We'll be there.
Which Dade, is going to have a few weapons on offense.
And that was a tough game last year, Scott. They played Ringo very tough. Yeah.
And then they opened up their region schedule actually the second week against Murray County before they go to play Heritage. So they'll have 2 games under their belt before that Heritage game. But I think, like I said, they're in the mix. We talked about LFO. I think LFO's in the mix. North Murray can be in there. I think Sonoraville, they lost a little bit, but they've got one of the top offensive players coming back in Jackson Pate. Kahula, I think, is going to be a little bit better than last year, although I don't think they're at that level of anybody else. Murray County has got a new coach. They're still probably going to struggle a little bit. So, yeah, there's every opportunity right there for Ringgold and LFO to take that next step, move up into the top 2 or 3, and who knows, maybe one of them can knock off a Rockmart. Ringgold almost did it last year.
Well, and those are 2 tough teams that Rockmart's got to beat.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about Union County also. Both LFO and Ringgold will have to make that long drive to Blairsville, but Union's got a brand new coach. They got a good quarterback who's going to be a sophomore this year, but one of their strengths last year was their running back who graduated. So they handled him pretty well last year. Let's see, Ringgold did it. Ringgold shut them out. That was the week that I think they had to play. Union County had to play like on a Friday and then turn around and come up like on a Monday for like a makeup game, or Monday and Thursday, or Monday and Friday. I know they had to play LFO and Ringgold back to back up here in the span of less than a week.
Well, in those situations, sometimes you never know if they're not going to play out again for somebody.
Right. But LFO took Union County, I think it was 40-33 last year. So
let's move over. Let's move over to Ridgeland and that bunch, Scott. What do you foresee in that region?
It would be a really good toss-up region if it wasn't for one team.
And
Calhoun.
Okay, playing
defending state champs, and anybody that wants to win that region is going to have to beat Calhoun. That's just
and one of the best Friday night atmospheres that you can ever partake in if you go down there. And I've said that many, many times, and I mean that sincerely, because that town stops and they get their tails over to the stadium and they get loud and they support a very successful program.
Now, I'm not saying Calhoun is
unbeatable. Okay,
unbeatable.
Because you like what we think Heritage is bringing back.
Last year, Calhoun won a couple of games, close ones, but they found a way to get it done. And I know they graduated 20-something seniors, but some of their skill position kids, especially at quarterback, Trace Hawkins, who's already getting Division I offers as a sophomore.
Let's pre-reference it. That's a program. Yeah. So when you lose 20 seniors, you're a program. You just reunite again. Yeah, some schools that lose 20, that's not the way it works for them.
They've got some defensive players back that are going to be really, really good. Calhoun's going to be a tough team to beat, whether it's on the road, whether it's at home, whatever. Heritage might have the team that, if anybody can do it in that region,
you like Heritage.
I think Heritage's got an opportunity.
Well, we know they bring back in crucial areas experienced, successful players.
Yes.
And that's I said that about Lakeview because that's what Lakeview's doing too. Mm-hmm. They're bringing back successful players in certain positions.
Really about the only position they've got kids that they really had a couple holes to fill were really at the linebacker spots. And they've got kids that can fill those spots. Now they're waiting on one kid to come back. He from an off-season knee situation. He didn't scrimmage. Cooper Chapelier. He didn't scrimmage last night, so I'm not sure of his status. He looked like he was in pretty good shape. So maybe they're just holding him out for precautionary reasons, and he'll play. And if he doesn't play this week, they play Christian Heritage Friday. I think they'll be okay without him. They might be saving him for Ringgold or maybe even the region schedule because that's where the most important games lie. But that offensive line looked really good the other night. They got Caden Hite back at quarterback. Their receiving room goes about 6 or 7 deep. They've got one. Braden Slaughter looked like a beast out there against East Hamilton on a couple runs. He had a long touchdown run. He had a couple other big runs. defensive line looked pretty solid. Linebackers look pretty good. Defensive backs and safeties look pretty good. And, they're bringing back Cody Bryan, who's the player of the year in Region 7A last year at All-State receiver. And if they get to midfield, if they can't get another yard.
And trust me, I might have been a skeptic of that last year until I saw somebody line up for 58 yards and the distance was plenty. You're right, Scott.
Jake Collette is the number 2 ranked kicker in the nation.
Wow. Congratulations.
And he's also a heck of a punter. I think last year, at about 42-yard average, he's putting everything on kickoffs through the end zone.
Yeah, and what a weapon that is for any team that is able to do that, because when you start with that field position, you're helping your defensive out.
He
tremendous.
Kicked about I don't know if it was 37, 38, 39-yard field goal last night at the scrimmage. And
Did it come down yet?
Well, okay.
It's still in the air.
You hear, baseball. It sounds different coming off his bat.
Okay.
Or golf.
Sure.
It sounds different coming off that driver. That ball comes off Jake's foot.
Yeah.
It sounds different.
Yeah.
And it went flying through the uprights at a high rate of speed.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those that kind of went up and barely got over.
No, it's the tight end over end.
It went over, and it went over the wall, and I don't know where it ended
holds
up.
its trajectory the whole way. It
Well,
might waver a little.
he
but-
single-handedly alone was good for how many views last year from us, Scott?
Oh, God.
We got
We need to give him an award for
I
that.
kid you not. We got 100,000 views
From
on
somebody
a
missed a
field
field
goal
goal.
that he missed.
We owe him something.
They ran him out there for a
We'll get him a
56-yarder.
Scenic City Sports t-shirt.
There we go.
It's
He
still on the
deserves
website
it.
if you want to go back and look.
Jake, let me know what size shirt you are,
He
buddy. and we'll
deserves
get
They
it.
one
ran
to
him
you.
out there on a 56-yard field goal attempt against Ringo in the closing seconds to try to tie the game, and he pushed it off to the left.
Yep.
And that kick was about 3/4 of the way up the upright when it went left. I mean,
Plenty
it
of
would have been
distance.
good from 65, close to 70 yards.
Yeah, we'd have had
And then he
we had a
came
national
back.
record that
He
night.
came back last regular season game and kicked a clutch 56-yarder in the fog
Oh.
against the Daresville. He is committed to Texas. I mean, that's the highest.
Longhorn.
I mean, that's
SEC,
that's the
man.
highest recruit we may have ever had. I mean, of course they've had
and-
Georgia and they've had Alabama snappers and they've had a kicker.
Yeah, but,
Anderson
but
Britt went to Army.
I
But
was going to say
Texas
coming
kicker,
back into the SEC this year with Arch Manning at quarterback is considered one of the,
big.
They're considered one of the teams to beat.
Well,
big.
a lot of
And
folks
you're
think they'll
coming
be
in
in
as their kick. And he'll
Yeah.
probably walk in there and
he'll
start.
have a chance.
He'll have a chance to start day one.
Yeah. And somebody asked me the other night, does that kid play soccer? No, he doesn't play soccer. He kicks pretty much year-round football, and he's really, really good at it.
I remember, you're exactly right, though. I remember watching an Ottawa game years ago.
They had a big-legged kid.
Well,
One of them.
yeah, Jake Long back in those
Jake
days.
Long.
But they were the ones I'm talking about is way before that. I watched them play Jefferson County one night, and one of the last of the Colquitt boys, the youngest one, was the punter at
Dustin,
Jefferson.
probably.
Yeah, he was the punter at Jefferson County. When they would line up and he would punt, it sounded like that ball was shot out of a cannon, and it went sky high and had that little hang at the top and then start its trajectory down.
Yeah.
You just don't see
Well,
high
and
school
we'll-
kids.
Your dad was an NFL
Well, of course.
punter, and your
Of
brother
course.
was
And
everything
your
else,
brother,
yeah.
and
And we'll be talking about Baylor McCauley in a minute ago, but religiously now for 20 years, they've both had kickers that the average team don't have.
No.
And we've seen good teams
special
in this
teams
town
matters.
from time to time not have that weapon, Scott.
Yeah.
Not have that weapon. I think I can remember when Ridgeland went to the state championship, their average field possession was given up at the 40. If you remember back that, which was remarkable that they had that kind of season and they gave that kind of starting field possession.
Heritage has really become special teams U.
Yeah, they have
With
over the
their
last few
long
years.
snappers, they put 2 long snappers in the SEC. They've put 2 kickers Division I, and this is all in the last 5 or 6 years. So
Yeah, all you
they're
football
doing
players
something
out
right.
there that have aspirations of playing at the next level, if there is some kind of specialty skill that you need to learn how to do, learn how to long snap. If you are good at it, they are going to find you.
Tennessee Titans long snapper is Morgan Cox, who played at Carrollton High School, and he's been doing it now 15, 16, 17 years.
The
'Cause
Cowboys.
he's just that good.
At one time, the Cowboys had a long snapper named LP Lattisour, and it literally played for them for 18 seasons, I think. Never, you never once heard about any kind of contract negotiations with that guy or anything, because I guarantee you they were like, we'll pay you whatever. You're too good at your job.
Well, in most of those situations, guys, I mean, instead of there being 18 DBs fighting for 4 spots back there, there's one of those guys
a guy
that's going to be doing it.
Yep, there's a guy. And that is, I'm telling you, I don't know how many people out there have ever tried to snap a football like that. It's hard enough to snap it in a shotgun, just that little bitty bit. But the guy that can throw it back there to the punter, that's a hell of an athletic
On
feat.
target
If you're not,
and fast.
And if you're
Between
not
your legs.
between your legs, upside down, looking at the target upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And speaking
Learn
of,
how to long snap.
did you see the kid from Jacksonville last night? Kicked a 70-yarder at the end of the first half.
Oh my God! In the
With room to
preseason
spare.
game.
With room to
oh
spare.
my goodness! God.
70.
Well,
yards.
and that's come a long ways, guys.
yeah.
From the standpoint of we can translate this into golf and anything. The days when the longest drive out there was 290.
Yeah.
And now that's far from it, right?
Now
Trust me?
386,
Yeah.
370.
So it's the same way in these guys that are
yeah.
kicking the football. Now you see in the pros, you see a lot of people line up for 50-yard field goals. Growing up, we didn't see that. We didn't see them make that a 10.
It was rare. Now
I
they're
mean,
doing it
you
15,
think
20
about
times
the Tom Dempsey record. He was a, what do you call it? Just the military style
He
kicker.
was-
I mean,
he
just
was a
stand.
straight-on
Yeah,
kicker.
straight on kicker. Walk into it, boot it.
Half a foot.
with a half foot.
Half a foot.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
He only had half a foot.
but you look at
Had a
these
special
guys.
suit.
These guys now, they train day in and day out. They strength. I mean,
And they do things. You hit on it. They're doing things in the weight
Oh.
room that those kickers decades ago never. They walked by those.
We're
rooms.
going to see at some point in the net. I say it takes no more than another 4 to 5 years. We are going to see somebody line up. First, we're going to see that 70-yarder. We're going to see that 75. We're probably going to see an 80 or an 85.
You
before
telling me
it's
they're going
over
to take a
with.
knee on the
It
kickoff and
wouldn't-
go
I'm telling
kick
you,
a field goal?
It would not
Sebastian-
surprise me
Sebastian
at some
Janikowski
point.
Tried a 75-yarder in a game.
and just barely missed it.
yeah, he ended up for the upright.
Yeah. I mean, I think
And that was 15, 20 years
I
ago.
think most of those guys have the distance
Mm-hmm.
to kick it 100 yards. But they don't have necessarily the direction because they're just having to knock the crap out of it. And in order for it to get that trajectory, it's got to come out so low, it's hard to get it over the line in front of them. But I'm telling you, like guys like Janikowski and some of those dudes, I know they got the leg.
Well, they were freakish above their
Oh my
time
God.
in that.
Now
in that era.
everybody's like that.
And now there's yeah, you're right. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of them that are in the league.
And how many times now do you see, and this has been a trend for about the last 15 years. You'll see a team, you'll have a team that and I'm going to use an old guy name just so that everybody knows, but you got a team that's got like Morton Anderson, dude's like one of the most accurate kickers of all time. He's still top of his game at that time. And all of a sudden, they get some rookie in that's booting it way past him and everything, and they've replaced all those veterans with some of these young stars that have come in just because they're that much better.
Competition for kicking jobs is
Well,
It's like-
and let's be honest here too. You better not have a kicking slump.
Right. Oh, yeah, no,
A
you're
two,
gone.
a
'Cause
two
there's
game, I can't get it done,
you're gone.
and we got somebody else.
Kurt Smith, Dr. Bill Moore Smith's son that kicked at Baylor, he tried to make it a lot. And that was a highly competitive position back then. He was in camp at one time with the Seahawks. I think he was in camp one time with maybe the Chiefs. He went to 3 or 4 training camps and come real close to making it several times. And he was a hell of a kicker.
I'm just disappointed because you said old kicker and you didn't bring up Uwe von Schaman. So.
Uwe von Schaman. Garo you premium.
Hey, now you're really going back.
Getting back to 7 AAA though, you got LaFayette and Ridgeland also in that region, along with Northwest Whitfield, who still should be pretty good. They're bringing back one of the top quarterbacks in Gavin Knuckles. Adairsville lost quite a bit. I don't know how what they've got coming back to replace them, but they lost a bunch in the skill positions. Gilmer also lost quite a bit, but the way that system's been rolling here, I mean, there's going to be kids that can run that type of offense. Ridgeland.
Ridgeland and Lafayette. What strides are they going to make this year?
Ridgeland's going to be relying on some youth, but they've got some kids that have come up that are really, really talented. And I'll throw one out in particular that you're going to see a lot of, Tabrone Ball. Freshman, running back, about 5'10", about 190 pounds already.
Was that the kid from Rossville last year?
Kid from Rossville last year. And they've had some kids that have gone other places. He's probably going to be your starting running back. Big kid, got some pretty good speed.
Good size for a freshman, yeah.
Caden Williams is back, sophomore quarterback who got to start last 2 or 3 games of last year. He's kind of taken over that position.
Is he kind of got a? You've seen him, I haven't. Has he kind of got a Martez Eastland build about him?
Ball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar, maybe.
Yeah, but I think he's a little taller than Martez was.
Okay.
I don't think he weighs as much as Martez. Martez was about 220.
Well, time he got out of there, but
yeah.
we're talking about as a freshman now.
Yeah.
And he was that kind of dominant middle school player that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That this kid obviously I heard was.
Williams, he's grown a little bit. He's a little bit taller, put on a little bit of weight, which was good. Left-handed quarterback, throws a really good ball. He's got 4 pretty good receivers to throw to also. But I think what the difference is going to be from Ridgeland this year is that offensive line. This could be the best offensive line they've had in a number of years. You got Aiden Stone out there running at center. He's really kind of the heart and soul of that offensive unit. He's the fiery leader. You've got Antonio Jackson. You've got Rob Burgess. You've got guys like Sia Murdoch, and you've got guys like Jamarcus Jones and Hayden Murray. And I'm going to leave off some kids' name, and I apologize because I don't have the roster in front of me. But they have worked their butts off since last season to get bigger and get stronger, and they understand that team is going to go as the offensive line goes. They're going to losing some linebackers, specifically like Kane Brown and Braylon Pritchett. Lose a couple in the secondary, but
I'm not adding
some
any.
of the young kids can step up.
I'm not adding any pressure they haven't added to themselves, but it's time. It's time to start putting W's on the board.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Young or not, when that much time is evolving by, we got to start to accumulate some W's there. Yeah. So, and they know that. I'm not telling them something
a tough
they don't know.
At LFO, although it's at home, and then they got 3 that, are Murchie. I don't think is that good this year. Darlington's probably still going to be pretty good, and Coosa's an up and coming team. So you got 4 games. If you can come out of that, if you can come out of it 4-0, obviously that's great. 3-1 would be fantastic. But I think 2-2 would be really good
to start.
A start, and then you get a week off before the region starts against Heritage, because the region, look, I mean, Calhoun, Heritage.
Well, Rusty said something a minute ago, and I haven't seen their schedule, but sometimes when the wins are not early, but the definite wins are probably late, but you don't get off to the start that you feel like you need to, before you know it, it's a tough reel back to get our kids ready to go get the wins that are really there.
Really got to have.
Yeah, that we got to have. But if we don't get off to the start, sometimes it's a difficult task for everybody.
Well, you just think
to reel that back in and go get that.
Think about all the optimism that is rampant on every practice field right now, because it's a brand new day. You've not played a game yet. You're 0-0.
Everybody you ask, what's your goal? To win a state championship.
To win a state championship.
But they ain't going to be everybody going to do that.
Everybody can't win a state championship. And you go out there a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, and you can watch if, take a team that's winning and take a team that's losing. That team that's winning, every week at practice, it just gets a little better.
It gets a little better.
They just have a little more swagger. They just have a little more pep in their step.
We added play.
We
add an extra play.
It just gets a little worse. And then a little worse.
It can be.
And a little worse.
It can be.
And it just snows.
And that's why it makes it difficult on that whole. not only the coaching staff, but even the fan base.
Yep.
It makes it hard on all of them, because even though I've seen teams that'll start out 0-5 and there's 5 wins on the back end, they can't go get them because
they
gave up early.
Well, it's the one of the all-time best sports movies is The Replacements. And there's a line in that movie when the coach played by the late Gene Hackman comes in and he says, "What scares you on the football field?" And there's a few funny moments, and then Falco says, "Quicksand." And everybody kind of looks around the room and they're like, I don't understand. And he said, "Quicksand. It's like quicksand. You make a mistake, and then you make another mistake, and before you know it, you're sinking lower and lower and lower, and then it's got you." And that's the same thing. That's what these teams have to avoid. They can't let themselves get into that quicksand. They've got to stay on top of it. And there's so many of them.
Coaches Rusty just gave y'all something to speak of
pregame.
I
just gave you a
Stay
good
away from quicksand.
Talk about the quicksand, man. I mean, and give them the, as we laugh about it all the time at school, give them the Ted Lasso. Be a goldfish. You know why the goldfish is the happiest animal on earth? Because it has a 10-second memory.
Yep.
You make a mistake, you got to shake it off. You got to go back out there and you got to kick behind on the next play. Yeah. Plain and simple.
Goldfish have got a 10-second
memory. They're the happiest animals on earth. Yes, sir. That is documented. I taught Ringo Rob something tonight.
And then we don't leave out Lafayette.
I don't know if I believe that.
And Lafayette's coming in here with the second-year head coach, Ethan Thompson.
Didn't win a game last year, right?
No.
Need a win.
Had 2.
Need some wins.
I hate to bring up, they were 2 touchdowns up on Ridgeland in the fourth quarter, ended up losing that ball game. It was a great comeback by Ridgeland. But, you also had a team that was struggling to find itself on offense, struggling to find itself on defense, new systems, new coaches and everything, new region, tougher opponents.
Well, up in that late hire,
I think they're going to take a step up this year. Their JV team last year was really good. I don't even know if they lost a game last year.
But that's one of those schools, Scott, and I hate to sound like this, but it's been true. It's a long cycle for them. Mm-hmm. In the past, it seems like it takes them a moment to get to where they feel good about this crop, and then we got to wait on a big crop again. Yeah. So,
and I think. Now you've got, and they're with like Ridgeland, they got 2 feeder middle schools with Lafayette and Saddle Ridge, and it's taken a long time for Saddle Ridge to kind of
give them something.
But now those athletes from Saddle Ridge, who played for a championship 2 years ago, are now starting to get up there, and now I think you're going to start to see that. You've got a quarterback in Dax Edwards who's been starting for better part of 2.5, 3 seasons. You're losing the Kalis Finley, who was a really good player, but I think you're going to see the offense spread out a lot more with a lot different players.
And Scott gets to go down there more than any of us, and we crowned this mascot a long time ago, and rightfully so. The Rambler, you can't beat it. They got a really good, loyal fan base down there too,
Scott.
Do. And they got good facilities. And they pulling for them.
And that offensive line, I think it's going to go like Ridgeland. They go in the offensive line.
And here's the other factor in that too. There's been way too many coaching changes down there. Way too many coaching changes, and that's not helped that football program sustain itself doing that. No. But
that's any program. You can't have a whole lot of
no. You can't have that.
You've made a change, or you've had to make a change.
Yeah.
Every 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Well, we're going back 25 years to Stump on Sports Days, and they've just had too many coaching changes.
They've had quite a bit. But I think you're going to see some improvement from Lafayette this year. How much improvement? I don't know, because again, you're playing in a real tough region. But you mentioned the non-region schedule. You're opening with Chattooga, who doesn't have the state's best running back anymore this year. He's graduated.
Where'd he go?
Murray State, I think.
State records and
it was like 2,900 yards. I think he's going to Murray State, if I'm not mistaken. Zayden Cook. You got them. You've got Tryon, who has graduated a whole lot of seniors who could be down a little bit, especially early. You've got a Dade County, who I think they should be able to match up better against this year.
Yeah, well,
our bouncer is letting people in.
And Dade County, who I just said a little minute ago, played Ringo very, very tough
Yeah.
early last year, and went on to have a solid season, didn't he?
And Dade played at that at Finley. Was it? I think
They
Friday
played.
night.
I didn't
Played
watch.
Warren
Didn't
County.
stay.
I think it was 30-21.
Did they?
Or at least in the first half, 30-21. Warren County won. But Dade is always a solid team, and that'll be a good test. And I'm trying to remember the other.
They're well coached over at Dade.
Yeah.
That guy's done a good
Yeah,
job.
Jeff Poston's good.
He's done a good
Gordon
job.
Lee. Lafayette's got Gordon Lee, which is,
And let's talk a little bit about Gordon Lee. I asked you a month ago about Gordon Lee, and you said on paper they're bringing back a lot.
Yeah.
Now, that's a start. We all feel good about that. That's a start. But since you've seen them practice a little bit of a scrimmage, now what are you thinking about them?
they should win the region.
Since 1978, they haven't done that.
1978.
That's a long time ago.
I think they should win the region just based on nothing else than what they're bringing back and what everybody else is losing. We mentioned Zayden Cook. Of course, now Gordon Lee beat Chattooga by 4 touchdowns last year, but he's gone. Fannin County graduated heavily. And I know they got a few good players coming back, but they're losing their quarterback. They're losing their top running back. They're losing a couple of receivers, a couple of linemen. I think Gordon Lee's got a team that can win that game. Heck, they went to Blue Ridge last regular season game, when Fannin County was sitting there at 9-0 and only lost 30-27. Almost had that game won. That game is going to be in Chickamauga this year, and they moved it. It's going to be on a Thursday night, last game of the season. I got a feeling that place is going to be packed.
Well, good facilities,
and
good
Christian
atmosphere down
Heritage
there.
also loses Carter Triplett at quarterback, and he was their offense pretty much. So, I mean, with everything that everybody else has lost, with everything Gordon Lee is bringing back, I saw him play Friday, a half against North Murray, and when the ones were out there against the North Murray team that we were just talking about is going to be a contender to get in that region spot in AA, it was 14-0, real quick.
And typically, because I'm gonna give him credit, I think North Murray's well coached as well.
Oh yeah, Preston Pope has done a fantastic
He's
job.
been very difficult. I'm gonna say this for Ringo's sake, and I know they played him in a 1-point game, but I've seen that Ringo and that North Murray series
That's
be
a battle, man.
just a barn burner.
That's a battle.
all the time.
It always is.
It really is.
It always is. But you've got Dustin Day coming back, who's going to be a 3-year starter at quarterback. You've got good receivers in Landon Norton and Bryson. Getting Bryson Oliver back is going to be big for them. He missed most of last year.
And there's a
with an
couple
injury.
of stud running backs down there, right?
They have, and I've already said it, and I'll say it again, they have the best 3 running backs
3.
in 7 single A, and maybe in the entire region.
You're telling
maybe
me
in all of North Georgia.
You telling me there's a Morris Kick and Zonka down there? Is that what you're trying to
You've
say?
got Peyton Gross, you've got Lane Vaughn, and throw in Logan Price, who filled in admirably when those two kind of got some dings a little bit last year. He came in and ran for 4 or 5
People in Gordon
yards.
Lee right now are Googling those 3 names. Well, who are they?
They ain't
When did they?
Googling nothing. I
When did they
guarantee
play
you.
for Gordon Lee?
I guarantee you they know.
I thought I only know Nudie down there. I
You're
don't
talking
know
about-
anybody
you're talking
else.
about the Dolphin guys, aren't you? I was going to say, I
Yeah,
guarantee
that's
you
the
they know
Dolphins.
who's
72
who's,
Dolphins.
Peyton Gross has been clocked at 4-3.
4-3.
Yeah. And Lane Vaughn looks a
Man.
little bit bigger. He's just a beast to bring down. Peyton's got speed and strength.
Who was the kid that stood out? I guess it was 2 years ago when Gordon Lee won the middle school.
Yeah, Cade Peter. No.
They had a running back down there that was the MVP.
Oh, Braden Stoker.
Is that who it was?
He's at Heritage.
Okay.
He has transferred. He is
All
at
right.
Heritage. He's
Didn't know
he's
that
a
one.
receiver, yes.
Okay.
But
Okay.
those 3 running backs, I mean, Gordon Lee is going to throw the ball some, but that offense is built around that running game.
Okay.
And they were opening up some holes. They've got speed.
What are they like up
defense.
front? You're talking about how fast they are, but what are they like up
They've
front?
got pretty good size for a single A team.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah. And they've got some athletic kids.
Any
Defensive wise,
coaching changes on that staff down there?
no.
That stayed intact?
It's been pretty stable. Maybe 1 or 2 have left, but the core of that coaching staff has been there for a while now. And Josh Gross does such a great job, with the defense especially, because that's, his side of the ball. That's his expertise. But they are going to run the ball a lot. They are going to score a lot of points. The defense is going to fly to the football.
Okay.
The non-region schedule, like I said, they've got Lafayette. They open up with Tryon. I'm trying to remember who else.
That's interesting.
They've got
now, Scott.
that game being first.
That's interesting because we talk about one of the longest rivalries, but yet some people say it hadn't been a rivalry; it's just been a ball game because Tryon's owned that win-loss thing this year. Could things be different?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember that team a few years back, 2020, that had Cade Peterson and Brody Cobb and that group. I'm wanting to say they beat Tryon like 50-14 that year or something like that. It was really bad.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be that bad.
Okay.
But if Gordon Lee was ever going to,
this needs to be one of.
It could be this year.
Okay, so
but of course I'm not going to predict that because it's Gordon Lee Tryon, and we've
and Tryon owns those numbers. So let's wrap this up.
Throw the record out the door on that.
Let's wrap this up in North Georgia.
I think Gordon Lee wins that region. They got Heritage again, and I think that one is in. Heritage. Okay. That is going to be a barn burner of a game.
Okay.
If they get through that one,
and that don't dictate how they do in their region, whether they win or lose. And so we feel strong.
I think GordonLee could be 9-0 going into Fannin County.
So since 1978, you feel like the Gordon Lee Trojans could win a region championship.
I do. I think they're the favorite, and I'm not the only one that says
we think Rockmart's still the leader in the clubhouse in that region, but we think there's a good Ringo team who has never won a region championship. Nope. Imagine that. And a Lakeview team that hadn't won one since
2004.
Yeah. John Allen.
And Heritage has never won a region title.
And no, Heritage hadn't. But we feel like those three teams will all have solid seasons, and 4 being Gordon Lee. And the rest of some of North Georgia maybe going to be up, some of them going to be down.
I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these other teams are going to do. Like I said, Northwest has got a few question marks at some places, but they've got some experience in some places, so they could be kind of I think they'll definitely be in the mix there in 7.
Somebody said something to me the other day, and I really looked them in the eye and thought, I'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. When an 0-10 Dalton team, who's not accustomed to going 0-10, and that's nothing on the former coach at any of it. They're in a bad predicament down there right now, playing up in classification and not really having the numbers. But somebody said that there's a really good group that's settling in right now at Dalton, even though those numbers are a little jailed down there in that school system, that they'll have a good season. I said, well, I'll believe it when I see it, because not too many teams have great seasons coming off 0-10 seasons with the same kids.
Yeah. I will say, from people that have seen them, this little down cycle of Dalton football and knowing what's coming up, they ain't gonna be down long.
Okay.
Are they going to get back to competing for state titles?
Well, they're playing in tough classification in a tough region,
and we'll see what happens, because after this year, the regions are probably going to realign.
Yeah, that may help them.
We'll see what happens, where they land, who their region opponents are. But from what I understand, Dalton is on its way back.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of athletes down there and a bunch of kids that have come up. That middle school program is strong. They've got 2 middle school feeder programs now with Hammond Creek and Dalton. Dalton will not be down long.
Well, Nathan ought to be putting together our preseason top 10, but let me name 4 schools that I really think will have amazing seasons, and possibly all 4 play for state champions. Naturally, Baylor and McCallie, one, they've got to stay against.
Really?
They got to stay out of the opposite brackets with each other.
You think they're going to be pretty good?
Well, they will be, but they got to stay out of opposite brackets too, because if not, they can meet in the semifinals and one of them not get there. So that's that. And they've managed to do that a few times, so they got to accomplish that again. A Boy Buchanan team that may very, very well play and win a state championship. CPA, the big bully on the block, has had to move up. That's good for Boyd Buchanan, although there's rumored there's some kids that have left CPA and come back to BGA who's still in that in that division. So we'll see whether Boyd has a tangling with that. And the other one being a South Pittsburgh Pirate team that only lost 4 seniors, picked up some additional transfers this year. You will see them in the state championship game, in my prediction, and you obviously you may be seeing them crowned. Those 4 teams, I go ahead and put your wallet down. They're going to have solid seasons. Yeah. But who else do we think maybe in Tennessee can have a good club as well?
I think, just off the top of my head, and I'll just preface this by saying I don't get to follow it as much,
right?
Because I'm so tied in with North Georgia because of the job. I think McMinn County is going to be good. I think Saudi is going to be pretty darn good. I think Red Bank's going to be pretty darn good.
Red Bank picked up some transfers, not along with what they've been bringing back. Now I will say this: Saudi graduated heavily last year, Scott. Whether that means they'll feel that or they won't feel that, we'll see.
I got a good feeling about it.
McMinn County is typically always good throwing the ball about 4 times a ball game, and they're forced to do that when they do it. They love to run the football. And if you've never been up to McMinn County and Bocagle, that's a beautiful facility up there. Mm-hmm. That's really, and a lot of folks down here don't necessarily make that trip up there and watch a ball game, but that's really a good facility. Don't be surprised if they don't win that region as well. Let me tell you somebody else is going to have in my opinion, is going to have a solid season. And they had one last year. That's the Nation, the Seahawk Nation. Mm-hmm. They lost a couple of important people, but they brought back people in those important spots as well. They picked up a transfer or 2 that's going to be helpful to them as also. Week 2 may be our game of the week, may not be, but I'm going to say this: South
Pittsburgh and Silverdale.
South Pitt hosts Silverdale, and it, I believe, will be an excellent football game. It will. I really do.
I'm just going to run these down if you don't know, because Tennessee changed classifications and realigned this year. So here's your region lineup: Single A, 1A, Division 1. Region 3, we got Copper Basin, Lookout Valley, Sail Creek, South Pitt, and Whitwell. That's all the local teams around here in that region. Move into Class 2A, you've got Polk and Tellico Plains in Region 2 with Oneida and Eagleton College and Career Academy out of Maryville. Then in Region 3, you've got Alvin C. York, Bledsoe, Grundy, Marion, and Monterey High School.
It's all over in the valley.
Yeah, so that'd be a pretty good region. Class 3A, Region 2, we got McMinn Central and Meigs County and Sweetwater in the same region with Austin East, Kingston, and Scott High School.
So they kept bringing. They used to bring Meigs down here to play, so they're going to stay up north.
This is all Region 3 right here: Brainerd, Chattanooga Central, Chattanooga Prep, and Tyner Academy.
Well, I like Tyner in that, and I know that Ringo had a good scrimmage against them a week ago, and then I think last night they had a good scrimmage against Hickson and won a game. Now, we weren't there, so we didn't see the 1s and the 2s and how they played out there. But I honestly feel like, and I've said this before, Tyner High School may become, and I know this is pressure on you coaches, may become the most athletic public school in Hamilton County. And I say that because when fresh facilities are out there, and they got them, and they got a football facility that hadn't even been finished yet, kids tend to lean that direction and test the waters.
And I'm hearing that the field and stuff, it may not be ready this year.
Oh, it won't be ready this year. You can go
may not be ready this year.
Ain't no May to it. They ain't gonna be ready.
Year. Sequatchie County is in Region 4 with Cascade, Community, Forest, Giles County, and Watertown. Moving into Class 4A. Looking down the list, Region 3 is basically the Chattanooga area region. East Ridge, Hickson, Loudon, which is a little far up the road, Red Bank, Sequoia, and Signal Mountain.
I would have Red Bank the leader in the clubhouse there.
Loudon's always been pretty good.
I'm hearing some good. I'm hearing some good things that's come to Red Bank's fortune.
And I know Hickson was scrimmaging Tyner.
They did
last night. I didn't hear much on how that.
This is the score I heard, but Scott, you can't always put a lot of stock in that type of thing because you don't know how many times the ones stayed out there against the ones and twos. But I did hear a final was in the 40 to 14 range, but that don't mean that I know that was ones on ones.
Class 5A, looking down the list here, Region 3. It ought to be a really, really good region. East Hamilton, McMinn County, Ooltewah, Ray County, Soddy Daisy, Walker Valley, and Lenoir City. Remember that used to be a 4-team region, and you're automatically in the playoffs. And now you're really going to have to work.
And whether my source is good, bad, or in between, we talked about that region the other day, and that's the big boys, and Coach Brown's going to do an absolute excellent job up there. He might have got there too late to salvage that roster that was a little low last year. 52 men roster playing in a region that had hundreds on the sidelines, so that was small, so no depth. He also lost some good players before he even got there, and that's tragic too because they run off from their opportunity to be coached by a very good coach himself. But he will have success up there. I also heard there was a crucial injury the other night again at Bradley County quarterback play, and this is right out of the gate somebody that they were heavily counting on.
Here's a team we haven't talked about because they haven't been playing 11-man football for a while.
Our boys, Grace, the Eagles.
Grace is going to be in Class A, Division II, the East Region with Concord Christian, Middle Tennessee Christian, Providence Academy, Providence Christian Academy, and then it also says Kings Academy and the Webb School.
Well, welcome back, Grace. Welcome back, Grace.
I don't think those two are playing football this year. I think Webb School's having to drop football this year.
We wish Grace all the luck in the world because
they had a really good season last year.
They did, and Coach Ateka has kept that thing together, Scott, with Scotch tape over there. I mean
They've rebuilt the school now.
They're in the process of rebuilding. It won't be ready this year. But they went for so long with nothing, borrowing what anybody would allow them to borrow. So welcome back, Grace Academy.
Keep an eye on Grace
because we remember the
they
days.
Can make some noise.
We go back a ways, but we remember the days we used to kind of call it the cover dish bowl with Silverdale and Grace, but they were actually very competitive ball games amongst each other.
Josh Blake, remember that name?
Oh, I told John Allen once, he rushed for 400 and something yards that night and he gets beat. I said, John, you could have put 15 kids out there on defense and you still wouldn't have caught the kid.
He was a heck of a player. I'll never forget doing that photo shoot with him for the magazine. We did the TO, get your popcorn ready, and he was supposed to dump the popcorn, through the helmet. And they're telling me just take handfuls and throw it in the air. We want to make as much popcorn as possible.
Here's something else about that young man. If you remember, now here he is playing Class A football, very athletic. Probably didn't even know it was a contact sport the way he was out there running around.
He didn't get much contact.
No, he didn't. But if you remember when we had the Tennessee Georgia All-Star game played over on the campus of Baylor, he was the MVP. So it showed you he could play with any classification.
Here's the Class 2A East region that is always fun and going to be a whole lot of fun this year. Boyd Buchanan, Chattanooga Christian, CAK, Grace Christian of Knoxville, Lakeway Christian up in White Pine, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Silverdale, and Webb School of Knoxville. Watch out.
Well, there's a lot of Kings in there.
Watch out for the Irish.
Well,
Watch out for the Irish.
Y'all know something I don't know over there, okay?
Very good quarterback.
Okay, y'all know
Notre Dame is going to have a good team.
You may happen to know the father of this.
Well, I do know that. I do know that. But I've given that father so much pub through the years that I was not wanting to be pushed out there.
He's quite the dancer. We'll just say it that way.
But here I am. You're being put in this.
Mention the kid's name.
Last name Campbell. Daddy named Bobo Campbell. He'll tell you he played linebacker for Tennessee. you got to look that up and Google it to make sure it's accurate. Nate Middlebrook's on that staff as well, another Tennessee ball player. He says he played receiver. You need to look that up too. He might have been offensive tackle. He says he was a receiver.
I mean, it's just a good coaching staff.
Good, yeah. But but I'm gonna bring up Grant's situation from last year. We had him on, and if you remember, one of the questions I asked Grant, I said, "Well, tell me about how many seniors you got. It kind of dictates sometimes success. I got 4. But I feel really good about those youngsters that are coming." So he knew he was young last year, and I don't know how much he's grown up this year. It may still be another year away from having the maturity he wants out there. But when you lose 4 seniors, you don't typically feel that number.
Yeah, I don't know what CAK's got. I don't know what Grace Knoxville's got. I don't know what Lakeway's got.
Well, that's that whole region we don't know nothing
but
about.
I can tell you that Boyd Buchanan, Chattanooga Christian, Notre Dame, and Silverdale are all going to have really good football teams.
Well, yeah, we know from our side of it. We don't know much on the other side of it. But
those 4 right there, whenever they meet, is going to be a heck of a football game.
And I'm going to tell you something. Silverdale stays healthy. I don't know when Silverdale and Boyd meet, but that could be another very, very explosive football game.
In Class 3A, we mentioned earlier, East Region, Baylor, now bringing in CPA, Innsworth, Knox Catholic, McCallie, and Montgomery Bell Academy.
Yeah.
In the West Region, Brentwood Academy, Briarcrest, Christian Brothers, Father Ryan, Lipscomb Academy, MUS.
Well, some of those Nashville schools are getting their way that they got out of the path of McCallie and Baylor on this side of it, so they feel comfortable in that respect. So I think CPA's got to be thrown to the wolves on this side of it.
But I think CPA is going to hold its own with some teams in there. Matter of fact, I saw something the other day. I think it was Max Preps. They said who the top 3 teams in Tennessee or top 10 teams in Tennessee. Now this is Max Preps, so take it with a grain of salt. They had Baylor 1, McCallie 2, CPA 3. Wow.
Well, and again, a lot of that would have to do with what they lost in players, and I certainly
play against Boyd and them in that.
Yeah, it's grown. It's grown.
I was gonna say, that's
it grown. Well, it had to move up.
Is that Ingle Martin? Is that him?
And they had to move up because of the dominant success that they had.
Yeah, it's like Lipscomb Academy.
And like Alcoa.
Yeah.
I mean, they've all had to move up because they've sat there for so long and just reeled in victory after victory.
And we forgot Alcoa's moving up to 4A this year. So.
Wow.
Good for
I
Tyner.
guarantee you they can still play.
It's good for a lot of the 3A teams. Not so good for some of the 4A teams.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, when Lipscomb had a couple of quirky things take place when they moved up. One had a coaching change.
Yeah.
And then they had a quarterback they felt great about, and he run back off to Mississippi right before the ball game. I saw them line up and play Baylor, and their ones-on-ones looked equal to Baylor. I mean, Baylor beat them that night. But what I saw standing on the sidelines, I thought, oh, they're in trouble in the future because they did not have the size and the type of talent sitting over there. Now, I don't know if that coaching change and some other factors that got involved made them have hard times moving up, but they did. They went from a total dominant situation to struggling to win ball games.
They're going to be a victim of their own success.
And CPAs, it's going to be interesting to see their situation, Scott. They got McCallie and Baylor on their schedule. Yeah. I mean, that ain't something they've been used to.
No, but they've been an established program longer than Lipscomb Academy.
Well, they have, and they have an outstanding coaching staff over there as well. So all of that's in their favor. But again, the first time you got to step up and you got to put pad on pads with kids that are heavily being recruited by Division I schools. That's another story.
So
it's that, and it's the. I will never forget it as long as I live. The first time, one of the first All-Star games that we ever did, and the kids from Georgia saw Greg Smith, a.k.a. Green Mile, for the first time. if you have been at a smaller school and you've always played competition stuff that's the same size and level and everything that you are, and then all of a sudden you get a team like that has a 6'4", 300-pound offensive lineman.
Yeah, you
that's like walking into, like walking in there and seeing a professional wrestler on the other side that's in great shape, and it's just the intimidation factor of that.
Yeah.
Is something that you've got to get. Stump used to have that expression about there were certain places that you would go and you were 14 points down when you got off the bus. Part of growing as an organization and as a team is being able to take anything that's thrown at you like that and try to make a positive out of it, and that's difficult, man. Especially when you're looking at guys like that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you walk out there and there's a guy on the other side, and they're like, "Hey, that guy over there, man, he's been recruited by USC. I mean, that guy over there, he's going to Texas."
And I feel like a jobber.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the Mulkey brothers.
I'm a jobber
over here.
tonight.
I'm one of the Mulkey brothers trying to keep this guy from,
baby.
trying to keep this guy from scoring 12 times. All right, so we talked a lot of football tonight. But I want to throw something at Rob that you told me the other night that absolutely floored me, and I still ain't got over it on our way to Pool League. So, Rob, we're going to ask you
Hold
the
it.
same question.
Y'all are sitting over there.
No,
You've had time to Google the answers.
No Google nothing on this, but this is one that I promise you is going – you're not going to be ready for this.
Probably not, because it's probably not a real sport.
Okay, so Paul Heyman.
Okay.
Paul E. Dangerously, if you will, back in the day.
I may have a chance.
Let me Google and verify.
I may have a chance.
Before we go any further, I just want to make sure,
because Scott hit me with it because he had been listening to wrestling radio earlier in the day.
Okay.
It is
actually
still.
He was doing his homework.
It is still.
It was less than what I heard.
A little bit less than what is legit, but
a little.
But still, this
older,
is not what I would expect.
Uh-huh.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
How old do you think Paul Heyman is?
Considering all his years in the business.
Yeah, I mean,
he's 52.
He's 59.
He's 59.
Actually, we had heard that he was 54. And it kind of floored us both a little bit because we were like, "My God, man! I mean, we're like 52 and 50.
Well,
I mean, that's
still 59."
And I'm not going to.
Still a little surprised by 59.
I think he looks 70.
But there was something I saw a while back, and I wasn't going to be accurate on the age, but it was something similar that that he wasn't as old as you thought, and so when I was throwing out 52, I thought he was in his 50s.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will tell you, all the fans out there, and before we jump off here,
I'm old enough that he could have managed me in my heyday.
Let's to all our fans out there, bear with us.
And I was the Lakeview Luchador, by the way.
You were. As we finish up, if you've not had a chance to watch the new Netflix series, what is it? It's Unreal. That's going to show you a level of behind the scenes of professional wrestling that has never been shared. It's incredible what they are showing on this show. But I'm also going to tell you, if you get a chance to do it, look up, there is an interview with Cody Rhodes, and I'm trying to remember who it was that he was talking to. But he tells a story about how when he was a kid and Dusty was already grooming him to be a wrestler.
Oh, the lettuce.
That Dusty would have him cutting promos on lettuce in the grocery store. He said they would be going down the aisle and Dusty would be like, "You see that lettuce over there? That lettuce think it a whole lot better than them tomatoes now. Now you know better than that now, Cody." And he would make Cody cut promos on the lettuce.
Yes.
I want to say this too. For somebody that at one time was Stardust, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Look at where he's
and to who he is now in the game.
Oh, yeah. He is the star right now.
You would Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
You would almost bet, going back to that time frame, that if that's how they're going to label you, you got no shot.
Yep.
So.
And that's what he thought.
And I'm telling you right now.
And that's why he left, and he took a chance on himself, and.
You mark my words.
All he's done since.
When they let him turn heel, and it's coming.
Yeah.
When they let him turn heel, it's not going to be as big as Hogan going Hollywood.
Yeah.
But it's
going to have that big of impact.
Big. Well, what I could see happening with Seth Rollins, that whole thing right there, a scenario of maybe Seth Rollins gets hurt. maybe hurt,
Real hurt.
and Paul Heyman needs somebody, and the two Bronze need somebody to lead them.
And him.
And Cody, maybe there's the secret guy in the back for a while.
Let me ask you something.
And then Cody's the one that comes out.
I cannot remember, and maybe it happened, and it should have happened. I can't remember Dusty being a heel.
I can only think.
I can't remember.
I can't think of a single time that he was an actual heel. I know Dusty got turned on more than any wrestler in.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just can't remember him playing
the
the
Road
heel.
Warriors turned on him one time. Flair turned on him one time.
He was, because I remember reading about it, but it was way back
early,
in the 70s.
early.
Back when he was Dick Slater.
Oh yeah, no, that would
Yeah,
have made sense.
They were heel tag team.
That's when they were the Texas Redneck, West Texas Rednecks,
West
Texas
Texas.
Rednecks, whatever they. Yeah.
Okay.
But when he went solo, he became the baby face of baby faces, and was that for the rest of the rest of the time.
Before I end this,
do you think Braun becomes the baby face, knowing he's the Steiner?
Braun Breaker?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely could see that. Well, what I think they're doing with him, I think they're kind of holding him just a little bit, because Scott's kid just is been signed by them and is working out already.
So he's not playing basketball anymore?
I don't think so. Well, he was playing football. He was a football player.
One
at
of them
Ohio
was
State.
playing basketball.
Well,
Yeah.
one of them was basketball.
Yeah,
player,
well,
too.
the other one that was the football player is the one that has signed with WWE.
Okay.
And what I would be
The new
shocked
Steiner brothers?
if they don't have a new Steiner brothers.
Okay.
And I mean, that could be, with Cody.
So you think they're holding him till they get a whole lot more grooming on the other?
You could bring back Cody. Could bring back Legacy as his bad faction. You could turn Randy Orton with him. You could do something.
still wish-
Maybe bring in DiBiase Jr. as the advisor. Just put him in a suit and let him walk around and be the manager.
I wish Heyman would bring back the Dangerous
the
Alliance.
Dangerous Alliance. Well, before we go, folks, let me tell you something. If you got a chance, go on YouTube. And I saw this yesterday, and I had never seen this before because I didn't know they had ever done it. If you're a Dusty Rhodes fan, at Starrcade 1984, Dusty Rhodes came down the aisle in a purple velour robe, and he came out to Purple Rain by Prince. Never knew he ever. I mean, he always came out to like the Allman Brothers and stuff like that. Is what he always came out to. Never knew he did anything like that.
Okay.
So, folks, look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be back on this same time, same night, trying to work on a special guest. And if that comes to fruition, we will have him on here with us. We thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all of our sponsors, especially Gary Thacker Insurance, for making it possible for us to bring the show to you. And we will catch you guys next week.